What is up, legends? We are back, and we're back in Scion SFD. Now, a lot of people obviously are playing or trying to play the Scion right now. You guys have found me. People are joining the guild, which is interesting. And there's a lot of people playing now over in China. Now, as far as me teaching people how to get in, I can't because China doesn't want me to. I'm a large channel, and basically what happened 2 or 3 years ago is people were trying to get into the game and they were using illegal means to get into the game. So they wanted to stop that. And obviously I was the only channel at the time who was actually covering this particular game. Yes. This is, by the way, this is Akuma's Raid. This is a guild function that happens 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way. So we'll just get that out the way right now. Yeah, 7 a.m. I know, it's because they're on a different time zone, obviously, than us, so it's crazy. So I have pins in the Discord of things that I can legally show you guys to do to get accounts, whether it be QQ or WeChat. I can't help you. I can just lead you in the right direction. But the pins are there, and there's actually a pin in my description. Every video on my channel literally is in the description how to make a QQ account. So have at it. So let's get right into it. Now, the first thing to know about this game is that this game is a typical type of RPG game. It is not really an idle game. It has an idle function, but the idle function only really helps you with the gear part of the game. Everything else is on you. You gotta control everything. There is auto, but this is called manual auto. And this is where the term ride the combo comes from, and I'm gonna explain it in this video because a lot of people don't understand why I have that term ride the combo. And global is because global is arcade, and they nerfed majority of all the choices and options that you have in the CN. It's just like that. I don't know why they did that, but it is what it is. So obviously the very first thing over here on the right is the story mode, and you see I'm at 32.4 right now, and my account power is around that. I could do this fight, but it's ugly, basically. So this is things I need to do right now anyway with my account. So I'm just basically chilling right now until I completely get Akuma where I want to get him at. Because I did Ken first, and then we're getting Akuma up right now. So typically what you want to do is obviously you want to have the 4-2 split for the most part, but what you also want to do is you also want to make sure that you have a good build towards, I don't know, where your team functions. You want to have a main DPS, which is actually, people think my main DPS is Ken. Ken is not a main DPS in this game, as you can see. Ken is a balanced unit because he's a DPS and a buffer. He's a fire damage buffer, and Akuma does fire damage. So for the most part, what I'm trying to do is get Ken's fire aura out along with Akuma, and then Akuma does like some sick damage, which is essentially what this team is right now. So Ken's basically helping Akuma do like big damage, and then I have also in the background Sea Viper and Fei Long actually buffing as well. Now in this game it works a little bit differently. The support characters, the assist characters, they assist all 4 characters, not just 2 characters. And global, they only assist 2. Over here, it's all 4, basically. I don't know why that's a thing, but in global, but over here, that's how it works. And you get the same type of percentages and everything else like that, and the same percentages as long as you actually do what you need to do as far as with the 4-2 split. Now, you will notice down the bottom left, I have certain effects going on. I have the light attributes, which is of course Elena and Goken, and they actually help. And you're gonna notice right here, the only reason why I have that darkness thing right there, I think the dark car is on right now, so that's only gonna affect that. But I have 15% extra defense up right now. I have plus 10 speed, suppression, which is the same thing kind of like as pressure, is 12%, and critical damage is 15%. On the bottom right there, for you guys who cannot read it, is basically the support fighters are saying they don't directly help in battle, and fighters who received support get 15% in the extra attack and health. And the bottom one, basically the third one right here, is basically saying that you need to rank level these characters in the back. So it's actually important, which is why you see Fei Long and C Viper are actually building towards being maxed out too. They're not maxed out. You get to 12 plus and you are then maxed out at that point, but there is something else after being maxed out, which I will show you with Ken. So once you get to this point, which is basically endgame for this character, what essentially happens is you get all the way right here, and then the game will start giving you these points, which essentially what you can do is you can do one or two things. The first option depends on what the character is, but for the most part, it's going to basically be, it's pretty much called, like, I think Bleach. And the stronger this number is, the more the character imposes on the other side, basically. Like, if you guys know the term spirit pressure, this is essentially a spirit pressure for the character. So the higher the number, again, the more that it will be oppressed, which means that it's harder for it to be resisted or have something inflicted on it. So you can change this number, actually. If you want to, you can take points out of it, and you could turn around and put points into this stat. This stat is your attack power. You could put it all the way up, and then the character does more attack, but then if you do that, then the character is going to be more susceptible to being CC'd, basically. So I just left it in the middle at that point. There's no reason to kind of like mess with it. And you see the max skill points and everything else like this. So you would think that it's over after that point. No. Now you open the Transcend shop, which is what this is. So every dupe that I get of Ken after this point, I can now go into the shop. This shop, as you can see, gives you 10 summons. You can do that weekly. And you have this orb right here, which I am actually not high enough to actually use, which gets you into like the celestial tier. When I get to this point right now, then I'll open up another thing that will make the character even stronger, which I just don't have available to me right now. I saw a video of it on what used to be the wiki. The wiki doesn't exist anymore. They like the entire wiki for this game is just gone. I don't know what happened. It's from Tencent just gave up on it, I guess, because it's Tencent site, or they just stopped paying the bill or whatever else. You have a card part, you have gear, which this right here essentially just gets rid of the need to actually use a whole function in the game, which we'll get to in a bit. You have the ability to get gold, EXP, which literally is the most important thing here, because EXP is the one thing that that runs this game more than anything else. You just always need this. So every time that I get extra Ken, I immediately go for this because you just need EXP. This is for the in-game function on your gear, which we'll talk about in a second. Same thing with this, and the same thing with this. So now that you've done all that, like, it's a lot, right? This is not go over, y'all. Like, I see people coming in, they think, oh, Scion's not that far, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'll see you in a year, a literal year. It'll take you a year, and I was telling them in Discord, a year, 1 year, 12 months, 30 days a month to catch up to where I'm at right now. Literal year. So I hope you're ready. Hope you're ready to dedicate, boy. So right here, each individual gear piece could level up to 300, I believe. And you see, like, it's expensive, dog. This is where the whale come in at. This is where the whale funds come in at, because this is expensive, because this is using your gold, and it gets super expensive, and you need the actual items to actually do this, which is this up here, which you can farm at limited quantities. So every gear piece is different. This is the strength piece, the most important strength piece in the game. Right here, this icon where I'm pinging right now means strength, just so you guys can know. It's Akuma's actual demon, raging demon symbol. It's OP. It's OP, and you don't get this a lot. So when you get it, it needs to go on your DPS. And it scales really high. So you're gonna be like, you know, what's the other piece for? So when you go to your second tab, right here, you'll notice that I have the ability to place other stats into it, and that's where those cards come in. The cards basically are like extra stats and extra gear on top of the gear, and they have rarities from, you know, like the purple to gold, and then there's the legendary ones that they made recently that I just don't get. So the card I have on this one right now is fixed damage increase and damage increase. Now, fixed damage increase obviously is just a raw stat, and the damage increase is at 8.99%. Now, I could buff this, but this stat right now, like you see, I have a bunch of these. Like I have like a lot of them right now, but it's rare to actually get the stat higher, so you're gambling at that point. Now you can get it all, like I could get this bar all the way up to max and everything else like this, but it doesn't mean it's gonna happen, and it's gonna cost you gold, and then I may end up with a lower number, which is usually what happens majority of the time, by the way, than what this is. So once I got this 899, I was like, I'm out, I'm good. So then you also have the extra stat. I know you're probably like, what the hell? That's what it's about. So this is extra stats on top of the raw strength stats, which is amazing, and you need this item to actually do that. Now you get this item from high tier world boss rating. You have to get the I think either tier 9 or tier 10, which I'll show you in a bit, and it's just you have to actually be strong to do that. So if you're starting out the game, you'll probably never see this because this is technically Endgame, and you can change what the piece acts as. As you can see, I gave this piece to Ken for basically assassination type feel, which allows Ken to have a bleed through on his Shinju Reppa, which is one of his special things. Now, he is not technically a assassin character, or he's not a attacker, but you can put this attribute on the character. So essentially making a build. It's not like it's not gonna work. It actually works on the character, and it increases the attack by almost 50% of what it was. You can do it either or, and then you see I pretty much gave him, like I said, the assassin thing, because Ken is basically a balanced character, and giving him the assassin fighter passive allows him to get extra chance to actually critical. He gets more dodge rate, which means he'll actually live longer because he's the buffer, and I need him to live long enough to keep his aura out. His aura automatically does damage to people that he's near to. So even if he's stunned, he's still doing fire damage to them, and it ticks high. It does like major damage to bosses and stuff like that. And like I said, the dodge is just basically just helping them out. This is gonna be a lot, y'all. This is gonna warn you, like that's just the way that this game is. So now that we've done with all that, people are like, it's over, right? Nah. Now you have the fighter, like the exclusive gear, which we have in global, but it works differently here. And the exclusive gear scales according to how much total limit break you have on the gear. So you see, like right now I have it up to 6 right now, and right now I can actually, if I level the gear up more or get pieces to level the gear more, it'll get all the way to 7. And then it's basically a passive that's outside of what the character normally does. So what this one does is 6 seconds after damage is caused, each time the damage is received, you reduce the HP and it increases your attack, basically. So he just keeps scaling as the fight goes on, which is one of the reasons why Ken is such a high tier character still to this day, 2 years later in this game. And he was the very first character that you can push up to Awakening like that, because they had an event that you can actually push him up to Awakening. So he was the first character that was like God tier, and he's just remained that because he scales exponentially. And the longer the fight goes, the harder he hits. But you have to actually actively have him doing that. And if he gets stunned too much, he loses all his stacks, and that's all the DPS right there. So that's the downside to Ken, that he's not an upfront type of DPS, and he's more of a support DPS. But if he's allowed to attack for a longer period of long time, which you can get away with, by the way, because if you use most of his combos have super armor. So there's that. Now, last but certainly not least, we have the gear, but this is a beast spirit, and what the beast spirits essentially do is there is something else on top of what the character actually has. And this beast spirit in particular, he's called Qilong. I'm sorry, I always mess up with China. He gives you life and effect resistance, basically. So you essentially can have 100% effect resistance if you put it on all your gear, and you just never get stunned, which is probably what I should do with Ken, but me actually getting the pieces for that is something totally different because it's RNG. What it does is it stacks up resistance on this, which is the reason why he has it on him. Right when he's fighting, his resistance like basically scales up to like 50 or 60% on top of the 7.8% that he has right now. So for the most part, he resists a lot of stuff. And if I put him together like with like T-Hawk or something like that, he just would never get stunned or stopped by anything. You can actually level this as well. And as you can see right now, I put it on both Ken and Akuma because I don't want them getting CC'd and stunned a lot of times. This still happens because obviously it's still around 40% for it to happen. But for the most part, the stronger and stronger I get this spirit, the more so that they're going to end up basically not being able to get stunned and get HP on top of that. And you can over level this, like stuff that has like true endgame type of exponential potential. And then you have the grids, which they nerfed into the ground for whatever reason. and go, I don't know why, because it's literally like one of the most fun things in the game. But the way the grid system works over here is that you have individual parts. You have to piece them all together. There's a relative in-game type of feel with this because you can put different stats on this. Like on this particular piece right now, the very first stat at the top that doesn't have a gem slot is strength, of course. The second one is defense. The third one is crit. The fourth one actually has a multitude of things because you're going to notice that it has actually the first one I went by that is toughness, basically. This third one, actually, I'm sorry, the second one is block. And the third one is toughness, which is damage resistance. And you see that we have the extra percents on it right now. And the bottom one is actually defense. When you actually go into the piece, actually, no, I don't want to do it this way. Here we go. When you go into the piece, you see that they have gems in them. Gems is another part of endgame. And as you get these gems from world bosses and sometimes events, they're going to give you the baseline green ones, which are usually trash. What you need to do is you need to put them together and make better gems, which gave me a 4, which is still trash. So we'll go with this one, and maybe this blue one will turn into a purple one, which it probably won't, but let's see. It did. It turned into a 2, which now I can put it in here. And that's going to actually give me extra stats on top of that. So it's only 5% because the gem actually didn't go into a 3 or, a gold gem, which is the highest rarity. Oh, actually, no, there's a legendary gem now too. But this is block rate, which is good. So that's now on top of all of the resistance, everything else. So now I got speed, I got block, I got damage resist, and the defense bonus. This particular slot, the one at the top, is typically for defensive stats. So if you're actually like using a translator or anything else like this, and you're frustrated and wondering why a particular piece is not giving a certain thing, is that just like with most gear, certain things only give certain stats, and you just have to just kind of like be aware of that. The second slot is where you get all the good stuff, because this is attack strength right here. I'm gonna put this one in. And yeah, so essentially what you want to do for the most part is you have to feed each individual part, and they have 5 tiers that you have to feed, which is where this comes into play at. This is the idle part of the game, Ken's Bite. And you get 2 things here. You get the stuff to actually feed your grid gear, which is all of this, and you get pieces if you need it. I particularly don't need any of these pieces anymore because I have literally 2 years of that. So I basically turned all the pieces into stuff to actually feed gear. So when I get new characters, I can just make the gear as long as I have the gold. And you have, you get pieces on the bottom right now that actually allow you to limit break, which you see how much I have. I have 1 million, basically, because that's just how long it's been building. And you get a free try to basically do all this. Now there's 5 elements in the game, which are, actually there's 7, I'm sorry, but there's 5 here. And what you do with the individual ones is, as you see, you get parts and stuff for that. This is the universal one, so we're just gonna sit there. And that basically pushed up my idol to make me get more resources right there. It tells you how far it went. And you have the elemental one, which is blue. Which you can just basically go in, and if I can actually complete it, it'll do it. Which I can't. It timed me out, which is fine. And this, what you get right here is you get elemental stuff for your elemental power, which again is one of the reasons why it's going to take people so long to get where I'm at. Elemental power is this. And what it does is it individually buffs your characters according to basically whatever characters you have in there who are the strongest. You could put whoever you want in here, but the stronger they are and more as limit breaks, the more of a bonus you're gonna actually get. So just keep that in mind. So you see we got the life, we got the attack, we got the defense, and we have the well, it depends. It depends on the character, but it's just straight attack for this right now, but it doesn't work for everybody because everybody isn't characters with straight attack, but for the most part it's still going to give them the stat anyway. Same thing for over here, and you can hit this button on the bottom right here. It'll automatically give you the best possible character to put there, so you get the most benefit. And you see green isn't that great because I just haven't built up this element that much. Red is my highest because obviously that's my team that I'm actually using mainly. See? And you have Earth over here, and this is everybody in Earth. Then you have Light and Dark, which essentially what happened in Global is they changed Light the Master. Basically over here, and you see this is a really bad type of thing because I haven't built up Monk or Ibuki, basically. And I have to work on Goken as well. And then you have Darkness. And they're just as bad too because we haven't really been working on Evil Ryu and Oni. All right, so this screen right here is essentially kind of the same type of screen that you see in Global, but what they did, they just put everything here. So I see why they did what they did in Global because there's a whole bunch of stuff. This is survival mode. This isn't in Global yet. And you see, I just haven't done this yet, but this is a very good thing to do because you get EXP, you get currency out of all this. Eventually I'll do this. I started doing it on stream, but yeah. You have Chloe, which Chloe is just a free thing that you can actually do. We'll fight Chloe because I can actually explain combos with Chloe. All right, so we can go into Ken. What you need to do in CN basically is you have to actually do awakening paths to get to awakening skills. And global, they are just once you like basically awaken the stuff, you automatically get it. Over here, it doesn't work like that. And auto will never do the awakening path. Even if you set it to do it, it still won't do it. You have to actually do it yourself. So what essentially happens over here is we have a thing that Chinese players call ride the combo. And ride the combo basically is that the game is going to go through its path normally that you set up for it. But if you leave it on auto, what happens is, and this is the same thing in global, which is the reason why I do this in global, there's information lag in Street Fighter Duel. And the computer will always do the attacks before you will, no matter what, because the computer knows it's available before you do it. So the computer's always 2 seconds faster than you in doing specials. When you leave it on auto, you actually see that the computer is actually going through the combo before you actually are available to actually hit the button. Now, while I'm saying this, you're going to see it literally happening right here. So when people ask me why I ride the combo and global, that's the reason why. It's because we physically are not going to be able to do it as fast as them for the most part. It just is the way it is because there's information lag. And this became prominent when people started to figure it out in Nikkei. Nikkei, basically on mobile, when you're playing the game, you're 2 to 3 seconds behind what the computer actually sees. And when you play the PC version, you get the actual version of the game, which everybody had to learn, especially with boss fights. When I first did boss fights in Decay on PC, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, all of my timing was off because I was used to being 2 to 3 seconds behind on mobile. So I had to actually kind of relearn how to fight bosses in Decay. And I was like, wow, it's really that much information lag? It's the same thing in this. Now, me knowing that, I let the computer auto for the most part and do the auto combos, and I control the path. And it'll always be faster. So with that saying, head in. So now I'm controlling the path and doing the awakening. Now I just let it, for the most part, and do that. I could have did way more damage, but I just had to explain that to you. I'm gonna do a separate video showing you the comparisons and ride the combo, but that's the reason why I do it. That's the reason why Chinese gamers do it, because it's just better to do that way. Now, with that said, there's going to be times where you're going to need to counter something and you're going to have to actually manual, which just manual because you just need to counter stuff. And CN, all of the counter cheese doesn't work like that. Yeah, the computer is going to look at you and counter that. They literally do that. like so all the cheese that people be doing in global, that's something strictly that is a global thing. It is not a China thing. You will not be Zangief and stuff. You could try, but he gonna die in hell basically trying to do that. So this is one of you right now. You have to get good over here and actually learn how to counter people and fight with the skill system, because there's stuff in the skill systems that allow you to actually stop things and basically use super armor through certain things, or just elemental counter something altogether. And AoE doesn't work the same in this game either. AoE is not as pretty much outrageous as it is in global. AoE in this game, actually I could just show you. Show you the difference of what happens. Global, if y'all get your stuff together and you want to get money, fashion Chun-Li, I will pay. Y'all get your stuff together, because I can't get her over here. That ain't happening. I already got Lil Boo. I don't care about him. This one too. Like, dang. Why Chun-Li got all the abs out? I'm saying though. Anyway. Speaking of Chun-Li. Let you see how AoE acts. Now, you know how predominantly overpowering AoE is with Chun-Li and Global. Look how it acts here. That's it. You get one hit. One hit. That's it, dog. That's all you get. Now, when you use Chun-Li and Global, what ends up happening is she basically she's gonna hit with the damn. I let her cannon spike by accident. Let them rock through. See? Now the first character is gonna get hit, but what happens after that is it only hits one time going through and knocking down, which is pretty much what Combat Gao does. It does like ridiculousness and Global. It's just arcadey as hell. It doesn't work like that over here. Everybody's AoE in China kind of like does the same thing. Also, the feeling of impact in China is different than Global. It's more pronounced. It's more screen shake. Pushing characters means a lot more in China than it does in Global, basically. She endless capped me. This team is cheesy now, by the way, with the new Makoto. You just don't get hurt, basically, because Makoto and Abel work so great together. Makoto has damage resistance buffs, and the damage resistance buffs actually stack on top of Abel's shield. So that's why, like, even though this team is like maybe 7 times as weaker as my main team, even though this dungeon is technically a level 80 EXP dungeon, it doesn't matter. They can't even hurt this team, basically, because of Makoto and Abel. Granted, I'm not doing a lot of damage, though, with Cammy and Chun-Li, because they're not as built as my other characters. You also notice the difference in the way that it works with auto in this particular game, because auto over here is called auto manual. And what that is basically you can see the stuff basically while you're autoing, so you can control the path easier. And Global, you can't see the path. You can only see the path when it's on manual. So that would be considered manual auto. That's an old school term, by the way. That's like from like browser games, like like the browser type of games like this. So that's basically what that means. And since we're here, this is the EXP dungeon. This is the gold dungeon. This is the gear dungeon. Very easy and pronounced. I here to let you figure it out. They have the icons as well, and then they all drop the universal attack gear, which is, I say universal because it's like the easiest gear in the game, and the gear that you should put on everybody until you get the better stuff, like the evil Ryu stuff and the event stuff, if there's an event thing out there like this. But it's super easy to go into. You also have the ability to join other people in co-op, which is what this tab is right here to the second. And what that does is that is going to use your co-op energy. Co-op energy is the biggest wall in this game because it can only be influenced by a couple of things. One, you can top up once a day and get energy, which we will do. And that's it. That's all you get, basically, just once a day. There we go. You can also call people to come help you, which is what I did. And you see that it's only 40 on cap. It costs 10 per every time you go help somebody in co-op. So essentially what you can do a day is when it's at cap, you can do 5 co-op dungeons a day. Now you would think that's great. And everything else, that's not great. Like, it's not great. And the second way that you can actually influence this is you have to actually up your VIP. My base VIP in this game is at 0, so it's not going to go much higher than that. And the third way that you can actually influence that, which even if you actually up this level, it still doesn't help the fact that it takes 24 hours to get the 40 back. Literal 24 hours. So yeah. So this should never, ever, ever, ever be capped. You should never let this be capped because it takes so long for it to come back. I lost the music. That sucks. There we go. You have to make a choice. Let me do that. You have to make a choice. What you want to concentrate on every day. So there's that. But then you also later on have the car system, which the car system needs co-op as well. So this system alone right here will take you a year. You have to do it synonymously, right next to, simultaneously as everything else in the game. Now, there's ways to do that. You have the car boss, which is what this is, where you can actually, individual areas will give you like different car gear and stuff like that. You should always make a effort when you can to actually do it. It's going to cost you scrolls. You can get the scrolls in the world shop when you take on the world bosses. And then you have the elemental bosses. The elemental bosses, which I'm going to do one right now, fire, because I don't have many scrolls left anymore. Actually, I didn't mean to do that. Because this event doesn't give many. Oh, I actually can't do this, can I? I legit don't have enough scrolls. I mean, I could buy them, but at 50, do I want to? Nah. So, all of these are going to give elemental orbs that affect your elemental power. They also affect each elemental car, as you can see right here. And each elemental car you can actually change to benefit whatever team you're most using. So you see, I use fire, so obviously I'm using the red car. And you can level each individual one. And then there's finally the legendary car, which is this one. And as you can see, I've been slowly building this one. I actually don't have any more scrolls, so I can't even really build this. What I can do is I can go into a co-op version, but that's going to use my co-op energy for that, which doesn't allow me to use that on EXP to actually level. So we're just going to go in here and actually do this. And I know this is long, but people really ask for me to explain everything. So even if you can't read it, you just know where to go to do everything. So True Path, Raging Demon, True Damage, which they have True Damage, and like the game literally says it in global as well. You know, like everybody asks me what True Damage is, and it's just, that means that you did a combo path properly, or it's an awakening skill, so it's extra damage. And when you see the special icon, that usually means that it's an awakening skill and that you should probably do it. And what you want to do majority of the time in CN is you want 3 different tiers of awakening characters. And what I mean by that is this. And one of the reasons why Akuma is so good in China is that Akuma has 3 different awakening skills. Like, he literally doesn't even have it normal. It's just all 3 of them are awakening skills. So he has his red fireball, which is awakening. And what I'm talking about is this little special icon on the outside of it. That means that it is an awakening skill that has been limit broken. They have that in global, but what happens is when you get it and you officially awaken the character, they just automatically do it. You don't have a choice in the matter. They just do it. So Kuma has 3. Ken only has 1, basically right there, and he has his first one. Elena only has 1, I believe, as well, which she can't initiate. As you can see, she can't do 1, 2, or 3, but she can do 3. and you can't essentially do the same awakening path with the same characters. I found that out by testing. And what that means is once you go down one awakening path, you're just down that path. So I have to either go down the tank support path or the DPS path. You can't do both. The game just won't let you. It's just a hard code to not let you. So once I go down Ken and Akuma's path, I automatically can't do Goken and Elena. It won't let you. Goken only has 2 as well. So all in between that, I have 1, 2, and 3 on the awakening path. So if you're wondering why you can't do certain things, that's typically the reason why. But then you also have characters that only follow awakening attacks when certain things happen, which Makoto is like that. Makoto's this is basically after you do certain things and get that out. The same thing happens that you see with Monster Hunter Ken. Monster Hunter Ken can only follow. But the thing in Global, what makes him so good is that you have to do the awakening path over here to make him do the follow. You don't have to do that in Global. He just automatically does it. That's what makes him OP. That he's just doing this awakening stuff from jump. I'm like, what? That's the major buff that they gave him in Global and why he's so good in Global. He still has the same skill and he still technically does the same things. It's just that they said, nah, they did the same thing with Bison. It's like, you just get awakening from start. Just do it. Just F it, yo. I'm like, huh? They're probably gonna do that with Akuma. So Akuma just gonna be True Raging Demon from probably from 0. You get one piece of Akuma and just be True Raging Demon and people like crazy. I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be nuts. Who else is like that? Let's see. Ibuki is kind of like that. You have to set up, but Ibuki is the first character that I've seen that it's both True Path Awakening and manual, because you can basically influence it and manually make her do that, which this is basically a double knockdown, which is crazy. So she'll do that and then she'll follow it. Like, that is crazy. So it's like a Uber version of what Chun-Li does. Because Chun-Li has her AoE, and this is one of the only characters in the game in China right now that does that she just has multiple hitting AoE. So if there's squishy people in the back, she's just gonna kill them. They just dead. And she has high scaling. So hopefully we get that, because she's a free character. She's a free fashion character. One of the few like that. There's not many, granted, but she's a free fashion character. The other one that they had, there was another one too, which ironically was Ibuki too. It was Summer Ibuki. And this is the other one they had back to back, which is Summer Yang. I miss Summer Ibuki because I had no resources at the time, basically, to do that. You see, we're also working on this Sagat. I got friends that help me out, that kind of help me build this Sagat right now. And that's in the dojo. So we have this technically in Global too, but it works a bit better over here. So you see, this person, I have multiple people, but this person right now is a person that is helping me build Pharaoh Sagat. And then this person just came in. We didn't actually ask him to do that, but I should have just locked it, but I didn't. I forgot, and they just snuck in there, so they're gonna get free Akuma and Sagat because I forgot to lock it. But it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'm still getting the character that I want to actually build. It's gonna take a while, obviously, but if the other person had came in who was needed to come in with Sagat too, then I would have got 4 or 5 pieces of Sagat. But it's fine because it's my fault because I didn't lock it. And on the other side of that, when you finally get the character, you have this over here where you basically can just get parts for putting them in training. The first character is the training character, so I'm building both Akuma, Elena, and Goken, and you see that I'm going to get 3 parts. but it can critical and give you anywhere from 7 to 10 parts. And you see it pretty much it tells you the percent that actually critical right there. Obviously, the better characters that you put in the requirements, the better chance that it'll actually critical. You can get up to 100% if you have like really good awakening characters for that, but I don't, so yeah. And yeah, so I think I showed majority of everything that should get you started for like a new player guide. This first tab over here is the daily stuff. Literally you can click it and it'll take you to each individual section. This right here is the next tier of gear. I don't really need any of this anymore, but if you are new, you definitely need to do this because you're going to be all the way down here doing this right here. And you see, you start getting like the blue gear. This is where you're going to start with, and it turns purple. And then eventually it starts turning gold. These fights are hard, so like don't get too like caught up in it. And if you feel that you're struggling on stuff, you can actually look at people's fights and then look at what they use and stuff like that. Get an idea of what maybe you can do. Hey, he got my darkness team. That's exactly what I use. Okay, you go, sir. Well, this is interesting. You actually using the Oni with Hugo? I mean, that's a lot of penetration right there. So, and what I mean by penetration is basically them being able to force through. That's probably the reason why they're doing that. That's a straight up AoE team. This is AoE everything. This is an interesting team too. You're not even 4-2 splitting. This is just random. I'll just show you the last couple of people that you're doing. And you can also look at world people doing it as well. Obviously, this is your character situation and your gear. We already talked about that, so I won't redo it again. Ultra skill is the EX skill from Global. Pretty much works the same way, but you need scrolls instead of the items that they use. It's very limited in Global how well you can actually use and build this. I don't know why it's like that. It also upgrades, when you upgrade each individual one, it upgrades your account power, by the way, with the EX skills. You have the car section, which is garbage. I hate it. That's the major thing that they did better in Global. The car system is just infinitely better in Global. Once you get into this and you get this and you realize what you have to do and how long it's gonna take, you're gonna be like, "Oh, this sucks. I don't want to do this." Lost the music again. Element system, limit break system, which we have in Global as well. This is where I spend majority of my stuff on because it levels everybody. But as you can see, that's all the XP I got for today, and it's already gone. So we went up 2 account levels basically on all the characters. And that's the dojo, obviously. This is where you set your combos. Combos work better over here because you have all of the paths, and it'll show you the awakening path too. Not that it's gonna actually do it, but it'll show you the awakening path so you can actually see how to set up your awakening. This is where I basically learned how to do all of my stuff. So you see, like if I do a Goken's special, they'll do awakening path. They'll do the very first one, but you see right here, I can't go into the rest of them. You can do it manually, but the AI can't do it. It just won't, and it won't allow you to actually combo with it either. So let me show you. So we'll go to Goken. And you see right there, it just automatically locked it. I said, no, you can't do that. So you go right here, and then again, it says, no, you can't do that. It just ignored the fact that you had the awakening right there. But I can awaken in 2 and then go there. But for the most part, the game will not use most of the awakening things. Like you can do this with Akuma, and you see, I can't do 3. I don't know why that is. Why the game just won't let you do it. It'd be awesome if it did, but you have to physically do it. I really think that it's just based off of they want you to physically do those true combos, basically. And you see Elena and Akuma, you can't do it. Like it'll straight up go to like right there, and that's it. Also, part of the reason why you can't do Akuma is you have to do the first one, and then you'll be able to do the second one. But even when the game does this, the following round it still won't do it, even though it's available. So, is what it is. And the same thing with Ken. Ken, you can set up the first one, go on the second one. It automatically will not let you do the follow up, and then you can head down to Elena on the third. And part of the reason why you can't do the follow up is because this skill is one of those situational skills that it needs to be done when something happens. So you can't set up auto to actually do it ever. So just to let you guys know, that's the stipulation and all that, and why it works that way. No, I don't want to do any of that. Leave me alone. This is the store where you get to find out. I will take this because that is useful. Where you get to find out the game don't like you. And do all that. This is not worth it. That's really not a lot of EXP for the amount of money that costs. Just to let you guys know, this is the PvP store. Obviously, the higher your tier is in PvP, the more stuff you can buy. This is PvP gear right here. If you want to actually do this, this is relatively useful, but it's expensive. I just wouldn't if I were you. And all of this stuff awakens, including the legendary book. Once you get higher, I'm in Grandmaster right now, so I'm like working my way down towards there right now. This is guild points. Elena, the only way that you can get Elena is basically through guild points and the character dungeons. I'll show you the character dungeons because I don't think I did. This is one of the best pieces in the game next to Akuma because it gives attack and defense, and it allows you to pick between balance or attack once you level the gear up to 100, which is extremely strong right now in the game. So if you're in a guild, you like save up your guild points, get in there, and they have gear again, which again is too expensive, not worth it. This is Shadowloo City currency. Shadowloo City works differently in this game. It allows you to basically get EX skills, as you can see, for free just by grinding. This is, I believe this is V member stuff, which I can't do much of right now, so I'm just not even worried about it. And on top of that, it's more or less for PvP V member stuff, so you can do it, but good luck. That's all I'm gonna say. This is more friend stuff. Like once you help people out, this is definitely useful because this is useful for co-op. And you notice you don't get many places to actually get co-op. This is friend points again. This is useful for just building up. That's gold right there if you want to actually get gold. So we'll snatch that too. And this is just the omnipotent store. That's what it's called officially. And that's when you're at endgame, when you have one character at endgame and you can't upgrade that character anymore. This is when the store unlocks for you and you can just start using those resources. All of it is useful in here. So it's just up to you to pick where you want to actually individually use stuff at. Over here is kind of like the leads. So you can see basically what each person is doing and what they have in their team. This is the OP home you were trying to get. And I really should go back to this Balrog right here because he is so OP. That's base Balrog. He can't be knocked down. He got good defense. Like, I really should go back to him, but I'm kind of enjoying Goken right now. But I might actually go back to him if we're being real. If we're being real. And yeah. Real fast. This is the character dungeon I was talking about, and you're gonna notice right here at number 19 is Elena. She is a hard fight. She will be a wall for you guys because she heals her butt off. And it's really hard to kill her. So for the most part, for a long time, you are going to just necessarily be just trying to win and get a piece. And you're going to have to keep manually trying to fight her, basically, before you actually end up strong enough to actually just be able to get the 3 stars so you can just skip it. She's a major wall for a lot of people. And I guess Shadowloo City kind of works the same way as it works in Global, except for, like I said, you're going to end up basically fighting and getting parts, and you can get lucky. Stop it, Cody. Get deleted. Oh, I'm so gonna delete you with Raging Demon Dowsim because I hate you. Oh, did you stun me? Oh, I hate Dowsim so much. I wanted the Raging Demon in his face. He's even more annoying in Global. And see, there's a part right there. And what you're essentially doing here is you're fighting other people's accounts. Sure, you rapper. Oh, poor Ibuki. Oh, it's another Dow. Come here. Oh, you're gonna die before I even get to do it. He stunned me again. Actually, you know what? That's not what's stunning me. This is Goro Magawa stalling stunning me. Oh, Ken killed him before I could actually do it, so it's fine. Alright, pick between Chun-Li or E Honda. I don't even care. Just come on, Chun-Li. I was hoping they would show some characters that like I don't have, because obviously it's other people's account. Stop it. Can you stop? What happened? Where did Raging Demon go? Like, he legit hit him. Stop that yoga BS. You're just gonna do it in front of me, huh? Oh, you got awakening yoga too? Die. Look, it's still burning me. How are you still gonna take damage after the round? What would be more useful? Well, it's gonna do the same thing either way. So let's do this. Anybody new here? No, I'm out. I'm over it. Then finally, we have the event and the summons. I know this took a long time, but it's just how much is actually in the damn game. Over here is the normal summons, which you can actually come in and do normal summons and get characters, which is going to be the baseline characters, which, as you notice at the top, you get Hadouken points. And the Hadouken points are cool because that allows you to go over into divinity and go after rare characters. Now, Makoto's the rare character for this particular month right now, or Komodo Makoto. But all the previous rare characters up until 2 months ago are here as well. You guys can see. Hugo is just not here because he's from last month. It hasn't been 2 months yet, but everybody else is here. You guys see real quick. For the most part, we're probably not going to get any of the Chinese collab characters, so don't count on that. They also don't have Summer Ibuki because I think she was still within the last 2 months too. During a special event, they usually give you a free summon as well. So for the sake of this video, let's go back to normal summon. And the summon is God Hero over here. I don't know why I don't use this in global. I don't know whose idea that was not to use this. And the reason why we're doing this is obviously we're gonna get parts, and it's actually a very good thing to actually summon and get dupes and then have the characters limit break, because obviously you have the Endgame store that helped out with that. Nice. That was some part. Oh, I have enough already. Okay. So the reason why I was doing that was I was getting Hadouken points so I can go into the div store, but also you have the faction store, which is kind of the same thing. And the faction store is always going to do one premium character, and then the rest are just like the characters who are like normal in the faction. Like Gen is obviously the premium character right now, and you have a chance to actually get them. Gen is actually one of the div characters as well, but it's always going to have one in there to go along with the faction characters. I'm just gonna do it whatever. I would just hit skip. They don't let you just do that though. You're getting points though for doing this, and you don't get anything for 10 summoning, which is why I just never really care to wait. It's a convenience to 10 summon. There's no extra chance or anything like that. And I notice people say, like, why does sound die in global? It doesn't in China too. That's a memory thing in the game, in the code. Like, I doubt global's gonna be able to fix it because China never fixed it. How many I got left? Yep, that was it. Now you also notice that what you can do is you can farm dupes with your Hadouken points. So as long as you have the character, if you want to focus on getting dupes or an individual character and you have the character, you can just keep summoning normally what you would do and kind of like just let it build up, and then you can just get dupes of that character. It doesn't matter. As long as you have one of that character, it's just another way to quickly build up your characters if you're just not really worried about summoning, or if you have everything. This is more so for like endgame when you have all your characters that you all want to do and you just want to concentrate on building somebody. It doesn't have everybody in the store, obviously, but it does have a lot of people. All right, so let's head over to div, and then that'll be the last thing we do before I show you guys the Makoto fight again before we're out of here. So I have 300 points, so I can do that. This is limited every week. You can only do it 20 times a week. Obviously, Makoto's very good, So I would like to get another dupe of her and push along the pity line. And again, one of the reasons why people are so confused in Scion. Now I want to actually point in global. I want to actually point this out. The reason why the pity works the way that it works in global is because it's still following this. And to reiterate that, they just took the bar out of global. And that's when people say that scripted is scripted is scripted. It's not actually scripted. It's actually following this right now. That's what's going on in global. It's just that they don't show it for whatever reason. So people would naturally think, well, I get to 10 and then it magically happens. I get to 30, it magically happens. Technically, it's not magic. It's just that's hard coded into the game. That's the way that the game is supposed to work. It's just that they just didn't take that out of the game in global, and they're getting busted for it. It's so hilariously funny from a game dev point of view, to be honest, because I'm technically a game dev too, and I'm actually making a game, as people certainly know. So the fact that they actually have this still hard coded into the game and didn't take it out, but it's still doing it, and people can just see, hey, that when you get to 70, you're gonna get a character. When you get to 90, like I literally watch people in the official Discord say this. Literally, like, when you get to 90, you're gonna get 2. This is what happens, by the way, with divination, with Bison. It's literally doing this. That's what happens. And you notice once you get to 200, it stops. And Wales said that in global, that once you get to a point, it stops, and you're basically at the mercy of RNG after that. Once you get to 200, it's not gonna free ride you anymore. That's essentially what it's doing, which this is fine, but it's because they're showing it that it's fine. It's not fine in global because you can't see it. So it just magically looks like it's scripted when really it's just the system doing it. That's why I just was looking at people, what the fuck? Like, what are y'all talking about? That's just what the game does. And I've said it multiple times, and that's why I said that this is not some ancient Chinese secret or illegal. It's just that's just what the game does. And technically it's not illegal anyway, because this isn't a rate. This is just the pity. Pities aren't illegal. I don't know where people got that from, that pities are illegal. They have to physically show you the rates. That is something different from pity. Let me explain, like, say that so people can understand that and stop putting that misinformation out there. Companies have to show the rates, and they do not have to do that global, by the way. There is no law saying that. That law is in Congress right now, and the Republicans are messing it up because the Republicans don't want, for whatever reason, that actually happened. It was basically the Democrats who were trying to do that. Specifically, Bill Clinton was trying to put this into regulation back when he was in office. And Republicans was like, man, it's gaming, get this out of here. That's literally what they did. It's been stuck in Congress for like 20 years. Them trying to figure out how to stop, gotcha, basically being super gambling and everything else. You can freely look it up. You can literally find the law and the bill that this type of stuff is stuck in. So when people are saying that like it's illegal, it's the law, that's made up. That's very much lying. At the end of the day, there's no law globally in any country global that says that they have to actually show you the pity rates. It's a courtesy that they are doing that because there's countries like Japan, China, and Belgium, and the Netherlands that have specific rules saying you have to show the rates. But no other country in the world besides those 4 countries have that rule. So you can look it up right now. You don't even have to believe me. You can just type it in gotcha laws and see where it is. The United States gives a warning, but it's no law. It's like they literally say, they put warnings out there. That's it. And the warning is actually in Google Play, by the way. The warning is actually physically in Google Play to say, hey, they should have rates on it. They don't. It might be scammy. That's literally what it says. But there's no law. So if somebody is saying that there is a physical law, they are lying. And pity doesn't count in that law. Pity is just something that the companies are doing themselves to kind of make it so that you don't go all the way up to 200 and not get the character. You guys do not want the lawlessness of what was a gacha was like 200, I'm saying 200 because I'm looking at it. You used to have gacha where you would spend close to $1,000 and not get the character, yo. And I'm looking at morons mad that, oh my God, you could get the character at 10 summons. I'm like, what the? If the pimp smack hand that I want to have for so many people, like they're scamming you. How the fuck? Like, they're scamming you because it encourages you to spend more. No, you're encouraging you to spend more. You are on hook for that. You are the one. Ain't nobody putting a gun to your head and saying that you must go for like spend $100 or anything. You are. At the end of the day, there needs to be accountability for the player and stop blaming it on the company. Saying you are a grown ass person with money to spend on this game. You can't be sitting there blaming them because you gambling. What the hell? People were just raw making stuff up. I really want to touch on this because that's this whole situation where people are saying scripting and everything else like this is so overblown and majority of it is just lying, that they don't know what's actually going on and that somebody just took it and ran with it. And this is what's going on right now. So when people want to know why they're getting things at a certain point right now, it's because this is hard coded into the game and global and they never took it out. And they probably will. And then you're gonna get asked out and get when you spend like 50,000 currency in Divinity and get one piece. Thanks. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you, Legends, for getting to the end of the video. We do 3 to 4 videos every day. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be first in notification squad. I love everybody who stops by, and I will see you next video. Peace.